listing, let's see, this is a listing class. I do mostly listings. How do you get to be, that's like, how do you get to be, I'm sorry, man, okay.
Just forget it's here, just have the class.
Nobody likes their profile. How do you get to be a listing agent? Everybody's dream. I never looked at it as that was my thoughts to get there. It's a progression. It's a progression after you've been in business for many years and people liked you. That's number one thing in real estate. That's your number one skill, is to have people like you and that they refer you. So you start off, everybody starts off. You start off with some rentals, then you're going to work your way to buyers. Maybe once here and there you'll get a listing. Generally, your listing business is going to come after your buyers decide to move. So that's something that takes many years to get there. So don't feel bad you haven't gotten a listing. At this point, for you to get a listing, it's going to be one of your friends. It's going to be a random floor. It's going to be pretty random. And people have to really trust you to give you their listing. And if you get a cold call, you're competing with a couple other people that probably got that same cold call. What are we beeping? Oh, you know what, the beeping's probably because we just had a blackout. So they're probably beeping. Anybody here have listings? How's the listing business going?
Good. Wonderful.
Well, you're the new and improved agent. Everybody's met Joy, the new and improved agent, who shows up in the morning, makes calls, and proves that some of the things that we do here really work.
That's true.
Good for you.
I don't know.
Okay. What do you have?
Can we talk about that?
About what?
About the power hour?
No.
No? We can't talk about that?
I get 1 hour,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and this is about listings.
Okay.
I'll talk to you afterwards.
Okay.
Every morning, Joel's available to talk. He's
Okay.
on the thing. I haven't even woken up. He's already started his day.
You know I'm having my coffee.
Talk to Joel. Joel does power hour. Okay.
Jessica does.
Jessica does.
I
You
do
have one
want to
question.
hear from you
ahead.
about how you got to the listing.
So I'm not doing power hour because
No,
I've been in
no,
business
I'm not.
for 20
I changed your
years.
subject.
So
Great.
that's the whole moral of the story is I did all that.
So
I
how
called people. But that's not this class, but I'll give you a
Okay.
quick run through. I
But-
started off, I did floor.
Okay.
I hadn't even lived here for 20 years. This is where I grew up. I did floor, met people on floor. It's like you threw something in the pond and it ripples and you had one buyer that liked you and they refer you to other people. That's why you gotta be good at this job. You gotta sell yourself. You have to be a salesperson. You have to tap in what makes you special. You know a lot about houses, that's gonna make you special. I don't know much about houses. At this point I know something. I'm a salesperson. So whatever your strength is, you need to tap into that and get people's confidence. And then you work your way up, and as years go on and I farm, if I didn't farm 1 month, I wasn't in business that month. And I feed my database. So these are all the things that are in my head. If I didn't mail, if I haven't added any names, I shut my store. And I also see my business as a retail store. I was in retail many years. You need money in the bank. You need to reinvent yourself. You need to stay up to date. You can't fall behind the times. And you have to constantly put money in, even though this isn't the time you're making money. And when it's Christmas and your business is rolling, don't get secure. It stops. Every year, I can have 3 months with no business. Nobody ever wants to talk to me then, and I'm like, it's over. And every year I go through the same insecurities. Believe me, I have 3 months of no income. I mean, I learned to budget myself through the year, and it's scary. It's like somebody put the word out, it's on the internet, I'm not really any good at it, and you get really, we're very insecure people. We go out, we let people judge us, we go on listings. It's a very judgmental business. It is, it's hard, you leave a listing. Well, I can sit in a listing and I'll say, okay, are you sitting straight? While I'm talking, I'm trying to look at myself. How do you look? Are you sitting straight? Is everything okay? Trying to see, looking at the people, are they looking at me, and trying to read the people. So you said you have a listing. Where'd you get yours?
I have 6 listings. I had a short sale from people I knew for my son's football game. Another listing from people that I coach their son.
Joel, is somebody on life support here? Can you find out what's beeping?
Oh, the power's out in half the building.
Okay.
That's why. That's the
It's a backup.
the fire alarms are going off.
Oh, okay.
I got from a book at Schlicker Kratz, the guy wrote like a little handbook. He recommended that when you get a listing, you knock the neighborhood. And I come from a sales background, 17 years, so that's all I did was cold call. So that's like second nature to me. So I knocked the neighborhood. Heather actually did the open house for me. So I got a listing, you know, and the shtick is, do you know of anybody looking to move into the neighborhood? I like to give you first dibs before I put a sign up. So that's what you say to the people in the neighborhood. Often they'll say, no, I want to get the heck out of here. And so that's how I got a listing. But my question is, like, she literally had a contract there with 4.5% on it. And my thing is always add value, but when you're brand new, the more you give them that spiel, the more questions they ask, the more vulnerable you are. How many houses
So we're
have you
definitely gonna
sold?
get the commission, because I keep looking, and I see that the majority of the agents go for 5%. And I would imagine, rather than having the balls to ask for 6, you're just going in at 5. And I see very few, other than the experienced agents, that go for 6.
Yeah.
So nobody's ever gonna raise their commission. If you don't go for it, you don't have a shot at it. So we'll start with that. So, okay, first of all, I don't work for below 5. And don't think that your clients know more than you do. So, you walked in at 4.5%, and you have to say, let me explain commission to you. I would start with that. You know what, I'm not gonna go through my whole spiel because we seem to have a little bit of a difference here, because I don't do anything that will affect the sale of your home. Because if I don't sell your home, you might be great people, I don't see us being friends in the future. I'm here as your realtor, I don't see either of us getting to the table. Nobody looks at a house that's less than 2.5%. Commissions have been taking a hit. They're standardly 6%, but yes, they have been taking a hit at 5%. But if you're at 4.5% and we have to split that because you know nothing, we can't do things unevenly, then you want me to put it into the computer at 2.25%. You just cut yourself out of the entire marketplace. So that's my main spiel is about, I will take a discount if it won't affect the two of us. So let's start here. I run only member sheets. I only run full sheets. This is what your neighborhood is offering. You have 4 listings. They're all at 3%, which means a 6% commission. So number 1, you want to come in. I haven't even discussed what price you want yet, but believe it or not, realtors work for money. So first thing they're going to look at, which houses pay me the most? So first day out with their buyer, they're going to show the 3%. And they fell in love that day, never even saw your house.
Can I ask you a question? Do you really talk to your clients just like this?
As compared
No, you're being like very frank.
But I'm me,
That's
and
what
don't be me.
No,
And that's why he said I don't knock on doors.
Me, you know.
So I don't, if you attend all of our classes, you'll get a flavor that you can do. I don't mean to be, rude to you, but yes, I talk like that. And for some people, I didn't get the job because that's not what they were looking for, which is fine.
No, I think it's very
But
cool, you know.
it is, but you have to say words that fit in your mouth.
Has to be
So,
natural.
I try to give you some words and ways to say it, but it has to have your own tone. Yes, I'm very demonstrative, and at this point in life, my clients know that. I'm always joking with Santina, who she'll have a closing and afterwards she'll get a gift. She has to go to their parties. I'm never their friend, that's okay. A woman just hired me, and she hired me and she told her friend, she said, I'm putting my house on the market, and she said, oh, well, I hope you're hiring Nadine. She'll be your realtor. She just is no nonsense. She's going to come in. She's going to be your realtor. You might not be friends. And she actually said that. I don't get presents. I get referrals. That's okay. They can keep their baskets. I'm really good with that. And don't invite me to your kid's party. I'm not really that kid friendly. So we want rhyme and reason. So it was at 4.5%. So if we do it at 4.5%, I'm not going to get paid, and you're not going to sell your house. So at the least, we need to do 5%. So that we can get realtors through the door.
And the agent was offering out 2.5. It was black and white. She was taking 2%.
You know what, you can't
And I'm
make,
like,
I am never comfortable that somebody else should make more than me in a deal. So, I would just tell them, that person is compromising their commission. What do you think they'll do when they get an offer? They're gonna throw you right under the table. They didn't even try to fight for themselves. How will they fight for you? So it's all about having the words to say when they say it, and you might not get it. But let me tell you what I will be doing for you. All that person did was come in, offered you a discount, you just got an offer, they just offered your house out. I'm telling you that I'm worth the couple extra dollars you're gonna pay me are worth it. I'm gonna hold the line when you get an offer.
Now, quick question in the beginning now, like your time is more valuable than our time because you're busy. So you can walk away from that because you'll go find a 6 somewhere else. But isn't a bird in hand better for us? I mean,
Somewhere you have to
100%.
draw a line in the sand, and what if it was 4%?
Right.
Somewhere you had to draw your own line. You have to have your own standards. If you don't have standards now, you won't have them later. Yes?
Just real quick, when I came from Weicker and went to Long and Foster, when I was at Weicker, we only took 6%, 6%, 6%. So now I go to Long and Foster, and I get my first listing, 6%. And Mary Ann Dillon is waving around, look everyone, Jill got a 6%, got it. And I looked at her and I go,
Were you allowed to take less?
I was like, what? Yeah, I was like, I don't understand. The thing is that we've been beaten down, and you actually think you have to offer 5, then give them an option. You know what, you want to do it, ask for 7 and bring it back down to 6. How about that?
See, we actually have a little bit of an advantage because I used to work at Prudential. When you worked at other companies, not that it's an advantage to work there, you didn't have an option. So they beat us up about it, but at the time there was more 6%. But yes, a bird in the hand, you don't want to not get a listing, but somewhere you got to draw that line and say, I'd really like to work with you. I'm the one that can sell your house. Let me tell you why, but I have standards and I will not go below 5%. We split the commission. So.
Yeah, because the listings I've been on, like 4.5 is thrown around like crazy.
Yeah, but how do you know they're not just saying that?
Well, she had the paperwork from Remax.
Well, it's only Remax that does that. So why don't you tell them Remax doesn't have to answer to anybody. We have an office of 180 people. We all profit share. We have one goal. I'm offering you not only me, but 180 people that are going to try their best to sell your home.
Okay.
You just have to have the words to overcome it. I hope we can do business together. I'd really like to. I'm not a discount agent. I'm not a discount person. I'm not even going to discount my services.
Real quick, Kimmy, our listing in Bridgetown Pike, Kimmy was up against 3 agents. They all offered 5%. We got the listing at 6. You're just not selling your services.
That's it. It's all about selling you and just having the confidence. So to start off with, so it is, commission is always something that's in all of our minds. And of course, we're all sitting there and we're playing a song in our head about how we're going to charge and how we're going to justify it. And, you know, if I'm just going on a referral, okay, so here's a couple concepts that I think are ridiculous out there when you get to this point. Yeah, because I was referred to you, I'm going to give you 5%. No, because you heard how great I am, your commission is 6%. First of all, that's the time to hold the line. You know, what's your commission? 6%. Well, you know, I was referred. Exactly. Do you know why you referred? I'm really good at this job. So that's number one. The time to hold the line is referrals, because they were hiring you because they heard how great you are. And, you know, that's my standard commission because most of the realtors know me. And you can use my words like you've been doing this all your life. Nobody's looking at you. They're not asking for your resume. I am known, and I tell clients this, I'm known to have full price commissions. People like to show my properties for that reason. I'm trying to entice the realtor. So when we have a listing, we have 2 parties we want to entice. One, we want to entice the buyer, and I'm going to have your house professionally filmed. It's going to be staged. You're going to have a gorgeous presence on the internet. I am trying to get you a date. It's like a dating service. I am matchmaker.com. When I put you in the computer, your words are going to be perfect. They'll even be spelled right, which is something incredible out there. Your pictures will be gorgeous. You'll be very proud of your internet presence. Now the buyers looked at it. Wow. Now how do we grab the realtors? Money. They're in it for the money. So when we offer them 3%, you have a chance of getting more showings. So when the buyer gives them their list of houses they want to see, you're going to be in the first day and not the second day. More showings, better chance of selling your house. Quicker you sell, the higher price you get. So you have to try to, you know, to put out, I've had one of the bigger compliments you get is when they say, I really liked you. And I don't hardline, I leave it as their At the end, I make it their decision. I'm here to give you advice. This is the price range, I think. This commission will get you the most showings. But at the end of the day, seller, I don't want to shut the door on myself. It's your decision. We're talking about, 1%. And don't go into it too much. Sometimes you over talk something. At the end of the day, it's your decision. So here's what everybody else is getting. Do you want to be the one who's offering the most and get more people? You know what? I don't live in your pocket. You know what? We've decided we really want to do it, but we're happy with 5%. That's fine. I'll do 5%. I'll do 6%. I will never do below it. That's just, I put too much into it to do that, and it's like anything. It's like if you steal once, you can steal twice. You open the door. Just don't open the door. You don't want to be known that way, because you do it, and then they're going to whisper to their friend, and then the friend's going to call you, and that just becomes your new limit. Okay, so let's go through a listing. So you're newer. So your listing is going to be, and even if it's your brother wants to list his house, don't treat anybody differently. Don't discount your services, because family are the worst. They're going to have the highest expectations. So give them all the same bells and whistles. Don't not give them a presentation. You do all the same things you would do for your family or friends that you would do for a random person. So you're on floor, you get a call. Hi, thinking of selling my house, okay? First thing you're doing while you're talking at them, get impressive, be impressive, quick. Go on trend while you're talking at them. All right, hang on a minute, I'm at my computer. If not, can I call you back in 10 minutes? I just want to get to a computer and take a look at your house and get some information from you. So get to a computer, go into public records and pull up their public records. Oh yeah, I see you live in, so-and-so neighborhood. It says here in your tax records you have 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. No, I only have 3 bedrooms. So I've been on listings where I showed up thinking I was early in the game. I lived in New York. I know nothing about houses. I was expecting a split level, and it was a colonial. Well, I was insulting the person. I had no recovery. So drive by. You get a come list. You're going to first go into public records, pull them and talk to them on the phone. It says here, it says your everything that you have in there. It says your taxes are this, all the different things. Is that correct? Okay. You want to set an appointment. We'd like you to come later today. You know what? I'd really love to see your house, but I like to do work before I show up. You don't want to be available. If you're being called, you need to come in this day. They're just looking to use and abuse you. They're looking for an opinion. Nobody, is going to make such a big decision. Oh, I woke up this morning, let's sell the house today. No, I really want to come and see your house. I need to do some research. I want to come with information for you. How does tomorrow look? That's great. Yeah, how about 6 o'clock? Oh, okay. Will your significant other be there? Oh no, he doesn't get home from work till 8. You know what? That works for me too. I'd really like to meet with both of you at the same time. And you know what? I hear your kids in the background. What time do they go to sleep? I'd like to have some time. I'll be bringing information, and it's very hard for us to sit while your kids are up. I can come at 9 o'clock. I can come at 8 in the morning. Whatever's convenient. I'd like to have time to meet with you and your significant other. Generally, if they say I'm in charge of everything, you're not getting a listing. You're just being used. Usually 2 people. I don't care if somebody's going to be in charge later. Both people are in on this decision. You want to meet both of them. So try to set that up front. So you're on the phone with them. You've got their tax information. You get their name, address. Don't forget to get their phone number. And don't forget to get their email. The next thing I do is I'm instantly going to send them through Trend latest listings in their neighborhood. I already have, if you go into Trend, you get to have what you want to send in there. My regular is just homes for you, and I just have people on regular mailers. But for market evaluations, it says something like homes in your neighborhood, or something like that. I don't remember. Market analysis for your neighborhood, something about the market. And under it I say A, CT, active, PND, pending, STL, settle. Because they'll look at them and they'll think that all those homes are available or not available. DOM, days on market, and they're all the important things that they need. So I'm already putting that in the body of it, and this way they can look at it and they can walk through the house. My goal when I'm going on a listing is to get their price. Sometimes I find pricing a house is difficult. We all have our difficulties. I find pricing a house, if you're a townhouse, it's easy, but if you're not, it's very hard, and I want to know what are they thinking, and there's Sometimes you see people that come and they take a house and they see it as like, well, I used to work in retail, well, this dress, no, I'm not gonna just double the price, I could triple it because it's special. Sometimes there's that realtor that really has that eye, that appreciates that it backs to woods and he comes out with this high price and they sell it. So I find that difficult, so I try to get as much information as I can out of the seller as to what their expectation is. I wanna get the listing too, who doesn't wanna get a listing? So you've got this information, I send them trend, then I'm gonna work on Toolkit. Toolkit is a product that I love, you can look at it, I teach another class on that, it's called toolkitcma.com. It'll give you a trial. You fill it in, within 15 minutes, you have this beautiful presentation. And what I'll do is, so here, you just spoke to them that day, maybe they're meeting with other realtors, you have to assume that you're in competition and you wanna let them know how aggressive you are. So I'm gonna send them trend right away, I'm gonna send them a letter, thank you, I look forward to meeting with you tomorrow. You know, I'll see you at 5 o'clock, in the meantime, please look for my email, one will have houses that come through from trend. And look to see, have it set up that if somebody opens trend, you get a tag on it, so that you can call them later and say, I don't know if you had trouble opening it, sometimes it goes to spam, but I had sent you houses. Yes?
My question is, when you send them the trend information and you're developing a value, do you keep the value to yourself for your presentation?
Oh yeah, never talk about the value of their home.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I try not to say a lot. You know, people will call and they say, well, I just wanna know what your commission is. And so you don't wanna just know what my commission is, you don't know anything about me. How can you just wanna know what my commission is? You need to know why I charge that commission, who am I? When I come, I'm gonna answer all your questions. Well, what do you think my house is worth? I'm gonna come tomorrow, you're gonna be shocked, you're not even gonna have to ask me a question, I have so much information I'm gonna impart on you. You wanna try not to answer that on the phone. Well, I really wanna know, well, what commission rate are you looking for? I won't pay more than 4%. Then, you know what, we don't really need to meet. I don't work for 4%, it wouldn't accomplish a goal for either of us. So, if they're only commission oriented, sometimes they're just not your person, that's all. All right, so we took this information, you sent them that by the end of the day or sometime before you meet them, and you're trying to set them up because maybe they heard what their neighbor got, whatever they thought was wrong. You want to get them in line with what all the sales are in their development. So you send them the toolkit, you send it by email. I also print it and I bring it with me. You want to come in with stuff. We're asking a lot of money. We get paid really well. This is an incredible profession that has an incredible pay scale. You need stuff. You need to walk into the house with props. You don't want to just walk in and you're just talking. Somebody else went in and they do all this. I'm not very good on numbers, but one of my partners, Diane Loomis, we couldn't be more different, and that's why you should take other people's classes. I'm more of a wing it, although I'm going to have stuff. She's going to do statistics that I don't even understand. But for her people, they're of that statistical nature. My people are just looking at me like, oh, okay, yeah, sound like you can do it. So everybody has their own way of doing it. I'm just not. When I've called her, well, call us, I don't know how to price this house. Well, go into this. Well, I didn't even know that existed. Well, 98% of the homes and 35% and 60%. Just give me your price. Just give me your thoughts. Okay, so we did that. And then you're going to call them again. First of all, never go to any appointments that you didn't call. And don't say, oh, they just didn't answer my call. No, that's rude. Don't go stand outside houses. You always want to follow up. You want to call them at like 2 o'clock. And you also would like them to respond when you send them an email. Could you please confirm that you received this email? You want to make sure you have their right email address. You don't, Toolkit, I don't know if Toolkit, not every program jumps back at you when it's wrong. So you sent them that, the next, I would call them later that day and say, I'm putting information together. I want to just keep touching base. Tell me a little bit about your house. Is it renovated? What work do you think it needs to be done? And the most important thing is drive by. Toolkit has a place for pictures. You should drive by, you should take a picture of the house, you should put it in Toolkit. Excuse me, you shouldn't get there and find out that they didn't mention the high tension wires behind the house or they back to the highway, because these are so relevant. So you don't want to get caught. So you want to drive by so that you could be prepared. Okay, and take a listing contract. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of stuff you have to do. So if you're going on a listing, you have to leave, who stopped in? guy's name, works in our Ben Salem office, that tall guy. Anyway. No, he was going on a listing, and I said, where's your contract? Oh my God! And it was like leaving in 5 minutes. So I will often, you want to do different things to try to pave your way. If they said, I want you to come, I want to list my house, send them the disclosure. I'm going to send you the disclosure ahead of time so that you can fill that in. If you walk in and they said they filled it in, you're done. You're a slam dunk that you got it. So if you can, try to test the waters. So in Edge, have everything prepared. Have a listing. If you've taken Edge, you know how to do Edge. You have a whole listing thing where you're going on a listing, you already have all that paperwork prepared. You have a buyer, you have all that paperwork prepared. All you have to do is fill it in. It'll autofill everything. Print it out, take it with you. Learn how to do closing costs. You have to do closing costs on the spot. If you want to take a computer, you have to do closing costs on the spot. My closing costs are already filled in. My buyer agency fee is already in there. Find out if there's a U&O there. What's it going to cost for the U&O? How much are certifications? You need those peripheral things. You can't have your person get stuck later that you forgot to tell them that there's another couple $1,000s worth of odds and ends that you didn't mention. So you want to be really knowledgeable on your listing. That's a really key component. So you called them again. You're trying to look very aggressive. Just when I'm working on information from you, I just had some questions for you, and then you'll confirm your appointment before you go, and then you go and you get to the house, and the first thing that they want to sit down. No, you want to see the house. How can you talk about something you haven't seen? And you want to go in and take control. You don't want them controlling you. So you're walking in. I have seller's kits. I have buyer's kits. They're already ready. I keep them in my car. I can go on a listing at any time. I keep a whole set of blank paperwork in case I need it. But you can always sit at somebody's house, go on their computer. But I have a seller's kit that has everything in it. What does it have in it? It has I should have brought some, but I have brochure. You're going to do a brochure for them. You're going to tell them. A lot of times I go to a house and all it has is a trend sheet. I go the distance. You can make them, KW makes them, somebody, anywhere. There's so many ways to make a one-page thing on a nice paper. You say, because this is the information they get online. This is the additional information that I'll be leaving. It has a different additional information. Plus, you're setting a whole tone here, seller. You're setting a tone that you took pride in hiring a professional. We look at each other. I'll tell people during my listing presentation, you can get 3 offers and I'll say, he really doesn't want to get to closing. I'm not sure what this realtor's game is, but he's going to torture us not to get to closing. So we all have reputations. So you can tell them, I'm very well known in the business. People will be happy to show your home when they see my sign. I'm a deal maker. I'm not a deal breaker. I'm here to make a deal. So you'll have something, about your brochure. You have, you can get some Keller Williams statistics. We're #1. People want to know that they're everywhere on the internet. We have some sheet that shows where they go. Showing time, tell them about showing time. You can have some home warranty information. And you have to have a whole bunch of stuff. You just need stuff. And then you have your listing contract. You definitely have disclosure. And you go in prepared to go out with a listing. I have a magnetic refrigerator thing. Not everybody has magnetic refrigerators, but I'll go in and just stick it on if there's any way you can stick it on the refrigerator. So you're going to walk through the house. And you're trying to notice things about the house. Not there, of course you're going to say nice things about the home, but you're not there to be their decorator. Don't ush and gush too much about things that you're there to walk through and say, oh, I can see that you replaced your windows. These look like Pella windows. You'll learn that. Everybody learns the difference between Pellas and Andersons. And your carpet, my favorite word I use is mature. Your carpet looks a little mature. Well, yeah, we got it 20 years ago. Well, yes. Well, we didn't want to replace it. This is a whole nother issue of replacing, which we'll get to. So you're walking through, when you go through the whole house, this looks nice. I can see you upgraded your bathroom. It's beautiful. Are you thinking to do any work? There's some things that I see that, no, we don't want to do it. We want to sell it as is. Okay, so you're trying to get the tone. Yeah, you tell me what we have to do and we'll do it. Just tell me what we need to do. So you either get a very cooperative seller, or you get a seller that needs to get beat up from the market. And you know, it's always better when they're going to be cooperative. So you go through the whole house and you're trying to put together. You don't know the price. You can't go in with a set price because condition is so important. So it's very hard to know what the price is until you got there. They have a finished basement. Does it have a means of egress? Is it, finished in today's terms? What's the exterior look like? You get to a house and it's all messy, and you have an appointment, it's always going to be messy. That you need to know that. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to clean up. I actually once went and the house was so messy, and the girl said, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to clean up. I said, we spoke yesterday. You knew I was coming. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm going to say that your life, whatever it is a little overwhelming right now, and this is probably what your house is going to look like. So I'd rather that we understand each other and that we be honest, because if it isn't possible because whatever, life's in the way, you're divorcing, if it's not possible, then let's adjust ourselves to that. There's no sense in, they keep telling you, and every time you get there it's a pigsty, it's going to constantly be a pigsty. It's like you walk in, it smells like cat. It's going to always smell like cat. So yes, I'll tend to say those things out loud because it doesn't pay not to be. Now I also use a stager because I don't want to, because in my personality, I don't want to smack my people. So I do use a stager who distance, we'll go through and they'll say, well, what do you think I should do? Well, first of all, you didn't hire me. So beware of how much, it's very hard not to get caught up. You learn things through the years. You're walking through the house and they're saying, you're sitting down and they're going, you're giving your spiel. I'll start with, let me tell you what I do to sell your house. These are all the things that I do. Did you have a price in mind? Well, that's what we called you for. Yeah, and I'll just keep talking, right? I want their price. So, I sent you the comps. You're lucky. You know what I don't know. Well, the neighbors were divorcing. That's why they gave their house away. So you want to start hearing things like that. Well, I appreciate that. But we have this huge issue in our market. Homes must appraise. And this is like a stock market. So right now I'm sitting with you, and I go back 6 months, and 6 months ago there was this great sale, but by the time we sell 3 months from now, it's not going to matter anymore. So we're having a discussion right now, but after we sell the house, the bank's going to send an appraiser in. And whether you were happy that you got your price and the buyer was willing to pay it, if the bank doesn't appraise it, we're going to start all over again. That's why it's crucial that we look at the recent sales. And we have a little vision as to where you fit in there. The fact that the neighbors gave their house away, nobody's going to know that. So when somebody likes your house and they sit with the realtor and they look at all the comparable sales, not comps, don't talk real estate. When they see all the comparison sales, they're not going to be able to see something. They're not going to know any gossip. They're just going to look at this. And we all film so well. So we're a little disadvantaged. Let me explain to you this process. Because we film houses very well. The appraiser comes in, he gets to actually walk through your house. He actually measures your house, but takes everything else for granted that's in the computer. So the neighbor that has 1,500 square feet, because it says actual, which is the A next to it, and he comes in and measures you and finds out that you're 1,300 square feet, you're going to be deemed smaller. And I'm just telling you the obstacles so we can all be realistic. I don't like to sell a house and then you have to give the money back. I'm explaining to you. So the more things you explain, the more value you're giving because you're so knowledgeable. And that's what we want to impart on them. So you're walking through the house, excuse me one second, they're saying like, well, just tell me what kind of work should we be doing? I said, you know what, I actually am really good at that. I'd even bring in a stager. You have to hire me. So I would love to share I have a lot of information to give you, but that comes with me. If you hire me, I'm going to be here for you 100%. I'm going to take care of everything. But I'm here, I've given you a lot of information today. Are we moving forward? I used to not close the deal until Howard told me one day, how come you don't close the deals? Well, the market was a little different. I used to tell them to think about it and we'll get together tomorrow. Now I actually remember to close the deal. I used to hate doing all the paperwork, so I would DocuSign everything. But I'm so afraid of disclosures today. They're so complicated. And I don't want either of us to get sued that I sit and do that. So for 2 hours, I do disclosures with my sellers. I think think they're that crucial. Go ahead.
I was just wondering what the average cost for a stager is.
My stager's 125. Janine Klein, she's not putting stuff in the house. She'll give you 2 hours. She'll go through it with them. She'll give them advice. She knows how I like to work. We all have our own ways. I don't like religious items of any kind of religion. I don't like it to look like racial profiling. I had a client that smoked hookahs. I said, we can't have a room of hookahs. What do you mean? I don't know. Everybody else is going to think you're smoking pot. It's a pot smoking thing. I don't know. So you have to, you know, the house smells like cat. Well, yeah, no, I don't smell it. Okay, but I'm walking in and I'm telling you this, so you might as well hear it from me before you hear it from 100 other people. Okay, any questions thus far? All right, so you're going through this, you're sitting with the seller. Sitting, where do we sit? Let's set our tone here. Kitchen table. Well, one of my first listings went in and they want to sit in the family room. Here I'm all 5'2" and I got the comfy chair. I'd be 30 years old and I'm sitting like this and they're over there and I have all my paper and I had to keep like scrunching and then fixing my dress and it was a disaster. No, we'll sit in the kitchen. Well, I have stuff on the table. That's okay. We can move it. You want to be in charge. I don't even sit half the time. You're going to sit. I don't have the energy to sit. It's okay. I'm going to stand next to you. So you're with them for about 10 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, could I have a drink? You just want to set the tone that you're in charge. I always ask somebody for a drink. Would you like coffee? Yeah, sure. Well, I don't know, it's 8 o'clock, have any wine? I don't have any qualms about saying anything, depending how it's going. So yeah, you want to set a tone that you're not afraid to be bold and that you're in charge. So I always find by making them, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't offer you anything. Yeah, right, you didn't. But yeah, by asking, I'm just showing that I'm in charge of this situation. So you're sitting, you're going through different things, and you're telling them, and you're saying, okay, so, you know, let's move forward. Why don't you start with the disclosure? That's my way of testing. I do all peripheral stuff first. Contracts at the end. By that time, they've already filled out all these stuff. So I always start, let's start, I'm going to tell you the worst piece of paper that we have to fill out to do a listing is disclosure. It's 9 pages. It's like an Iowa test. You have to, which you probably don't know, my clients do. You're going to look here, and then you're going to fill it over here, and it doesn't line up. And, well, do I have to disclose? Please don't finish your sentence. You have to disclose everything. I'm not in a league with you to not disclose. If you're thinking whether you should, the answer is yes. This is how we don't get sued. And you can't, like, have a sidebar with me, because I'll be asked by the other agent, and I'm obligated to disclose whatever I know. So when we get to it, you'll tell me about it, and we'll decide how to word it. You don't want to have an inspector find something that you didn't announce. Then you become a liar about everything. Then they don't trust anything. You want to disclose everything. So you're going to sit there and you're going to go through the disclosure, and it's hard. There's a lot of things, and they don't remember the date. You need approximately. I always,
So, assuming you sent this before the listing?
well,
then
sometimes
say
I do
you
if I
touch
didn't,
it.
if they didn't touch it, okay.
You're doing that first?
Right.
Okay.
I always do that first because, if I'm going to start with the contract, there might be a roadblock. After I had them do, an hour and a half, we're going to get through everything else. So we're going to start with the disclosure. We're going to go, let's start with this. This is the most tedious. The listing contract is just fill in the blanks. It doesn't have any big deal
Would
with
they
it.
say something like, why didn't you even decide I want to go with you?
Okay. Oh, all right. Well, no matter what, everybody in real estate has to fill out a disclosure. So why don't you give me a call when you're ready? Is there any other questions? Anything I can do to seal the deal? Is there, No, I'm meeting with 2 other people. Okay. When will you be making your decision? That's about all. Right. That's your way of finding out. If you're not doing paperwork, you're not being signed. You know what, we need to think about it. That's great. And if I'm with, I'll ask, is there any other people part of your decision process? If with older people or a single person, if there's anybody else in your decision process, you want me to meet with them, I'd be happy to do so. Well, and then, okay, so we got through that. Sometimes pricing. So other things that I'll offer people, what price were you thinking of? Well, here's your recent sales. We were thinking of, I don't know, $420. Okay. I need basis for that. Tell me what your thoughts are, because I'm looking at the recent sales and I'm here and I want to get you as much as you can. I want to get myself as much as you can. The last in your model is pretty much the same as your neighbor, and they sold for $399, They sold pretty quickly, which is good, which is what we want to do. Why are you looking for more money? Well, we did this, we did that, okay. Those upgrades that you did, will get you the sale. It's not an easy market right now. It's a buyer's market. It's not a seller's market. So it's not that easy out there, and they're very particular. And for every place that you didn't do repairs, they're gonna charge you for it.
So my question is, you do a market analysis and you come up with.
There was no price in my market. None of these had prices. My toolkit, nothing has a conclusion.
Right, so my question is, in your head, you know what you think that house will probably sell for about. Do you?
I wish I knew. I'm having like a whole discussion with myself the whole time. I just want the damn listing. And I want to know how motivated they are. That's the most important thing is, oh, we already bought our other house. I don't care what the price is. You already bought your other house? Yeah, so, yeah, you want very motivated people. Well, you know, we're not really sure. If we can't get, that's another thing. If we can't get, can you please not finish that sentence? I'm not God. I don't want you to say it out loud because I wouldn't know how to do that. What I'm going to do for you is market your home, do the best I can, but if you tell me what you need to get, I don't know how to accomplish that goal.
So my question is, like, you want them to be realistic because you've already done your research, okay? So even though you're not pinpointed as far as like what you think it's going to sell for, you have a general idea. Do you encourage them to list it at your general idea amount, or do you give a certain percentage based on what the average percentage is from listed price to actual sale price in that market?
I'm very winged, as I said. I wouldn't even know how to do those things. My assistant does my statistics, so I do have all my sales for the year I present for them. This is what I sell, this is what I've done. But I'm much more wing it. My hardest thing is pricing things. So I am trying really hard, unless it's that cookie cutter home, and I don't get a lot of them. I'm trying really hard. I'm having a whole debate. I just took a listing over in Five Ponds. I do a lot of 55 plus. And I went in and I met with them, and, well, what price do you think? I couldn't get the price out of them. I was thinking $450. Wow, that's great. Oh, shit, I overshot. I said, well, what were you thinking? Well, I'm not going to tell you. That's a great price.
So it sounds like your success is like in your fabulous ability to be a saleswoman and wing it. And I'm wondering, as a past appraiser, what in the world do I do when I know what it's worth? Is that going to be a detriment?
But how can you know what it's worth? Because value is, you can't say that you know what something's worth. Because I get a lot of cash buyers being in the 55 plus. And that house did sell at $440. And it sold to a cash buyer. It will not appraise. And it won't appraise so much differently but value is, as I'll tell my client, that they're buying a house and the 55 plus market is so competitive right now. You have to be the winner. Well, you know, I'd like to get it appraised. Why? Why would you like to? You won the lottery. Will it change your life whether it appraises for $450 or $430, or will it change your life if you don't own this house? So, value, you know, is sometimes, you know, if you're working with a buyer and they're not happy, well, I think I'm overpaying. First of all, they are protected. They'll have an appraisal. I don't do appraisals for cash. I don't know why anybody would. Your person wants to buy it. There's nothing standing in the way. Why the hell would you put a stone right in the middle of their car? Like, some things, I don't know. Actually, this person who brought me in an offer for that house, I said, if you put an appraisal in, I won't sell it to you. He said, well, that doesn't make sense. And he was an old timer. He said, you know, would you let your buyers buy something that wouldn't appraise? I said, of course. If they really, I'm going to explain it to them. You won the lottery. What is more important to you? And often that's what you have to get to with your buyer or seller when it comes to price. Why were we selling your house? I know it isn't exactly the price you want, but your goal is to get to this. You can't do the stairs anymore. You hate this. Money isn't everything in life, and I'm always having that discussion with my clients. It's very important, and I don't want to demean that you're not getting the $5,000 you want. But if you don't, what is more important at this point in your life? that 5,000 gonna be life-changing or moving and getting on with your life? Which one is more life-changing? And if this deal falls apart and we don't sell, is that earth-shattering to you? So, and appraisers have values like this. So you can't say that you know the price, because I've fought appraisals and because I've had ridiculous ones and because. Because a basement can be either 5,000 or it can be 8,000, you can use all the lower. There can be a $30,000 difference in your appraisal and somebody else's appraisal.
Well, there's always a 10% variable, but you know, there is a difference for a cash buyer, and there is, you know, a market is not stagnant. A market changes based on what the market will bear. So just because something has proven to appraise at a certain point in the past, the market will command where the values are going.
Well, the market will command, but it
Yes.
doesn't mean the appraisal will be that. 10%, 5%, huge number. Don't you think that's a huge number?
Well,
That's a huge variable when you're the seller.
Well, that's like, you know, where, you know, it would be acceptable if one appraiser is going here and one appraiser is going there. If it's within 10%, they're still within that plottage, you know, of what.
You're looking from the appraisal point of view. You're not looking at the buyer or seller point of view. My number one goal is to make a sale. So sometimes people get lost in representation as to the value of the home, as to getting their buyer the best deal, as to getting a new roof. I'm a deal maker. I don't put roadblocks in, and I find ways to overcome them. So there is no hard line of anything. There's no hard line of our commission. There's no hard line of the value of your house. If you put an offer in and your buyer didn't get the house of their dreams because you hardlined it, were you good or bad? They didn't get the house of their dreams. You moved off that sale, and now that's Saint House. I'm so sorry I didn't get Saint House. So close any gaps that you can. You want, you know, people lose their patience with you. So if I'm close, I'm always going to chip in. That's another reason we were talking about 6%. Let me tell you another reason, seller, that you want to pay 6%. Because when that buyer does their inspection and they're hung up on something that we can't get out of, I'm going to turn to that realtor. I'm going to go, realtor, I paid you very well here. I suggest that you bridge this gap for that extra 0.5% I put in your pocket. Because when this falls through, I have a listing. You have a disgruntled buyer. So these are all different things to say about why you should get your money.
So when you list a house and say the person knows, I want a net X, but how are you pricing that? Like you added the commission.
It's just not relevant to me that what you want. Let me just explain this to you, seller. When we get an offer in, I can't say to the realtor, listen, my seller really needs $400,000, so will you pay more? So if you have let's just discuss that right now.
No, well, I'm saying if it's.
I won't allow them to say it. I don't even want to hear it, because what does it do for me? First of all, they got in your pocket by doing that, because you're going to work very hard to make that happen. So let's decide what price. Let's understand what I can do for you, seller. Let's decide the list price of your house, something that we all like. It's going to be attractive. It's the right price. Let me do closing costs, and you'll see if this works for you. If it doesn't work for you, then perhaps this isn't the right time to sell your house. So this is our starting point. So if we're going to do closing costs and it comes in that they net $230, I'm going to go, you know, you'll probably get, this looks reasonable, according to like between $215 and $230. If it doesn't work for you, let's not move forward. I don't have a crystal ball. So sometimes you have an expectation that just can't be met. So, you know, I don't want them to say that out loud. Well, I need to get. Well, that's just very irrelevant to everybody in this transaction what you need to get. You will get what a buyer is willing to pay for your house. If you don't like that price at the time, you have three choices. You can accept, negotiate, or reject it. So I don't want you to say it.
My point was if it's lower, like say they own their house outright, and the house, you know, you're coming in thinking, oh, I probably priced it at $230, and they're telling you like, you know, I want to net at least $200. So they're below reasonable. Would you, because if you price it accordingly, it's a buyer's market, so if they're going to low, you almost have to price it a little higher, right? Does that make sense?
Well, you get your best price when you price on target. To go high, you get low. It's just the rules of thumb are. The more targeted your price, the better you come out. You're going to get full price or better. You want to start high, you're going to have to keep you Here's how
So
I
you don't
explain
worry
that to
about the
people.
haggle
See all your
bar?
other people, and don't just do their neighborhood. All right, so you know what, we haven't exactly come to our price right now, seller. Let's do a little more research. You've told me you want $350. I'm not exactly seeing it. This is what I wanna do. Let's do and I'll do paperwork without price. Okay, we've decided that we're moving forward together. I need to have your house staged. We might not even get on the market for another month. And that month, and take that into consideration with your 6 months contract, I'm now going to put into my contracts, I've decided that my marketing time of 6 months actually begins from the day we get into the multiple listing. Because so many people get busy doing things, you lose your marketing time. So let's decide that we have some work to do. We want to get you the maximum price. You've told me you're thinking $350. People don't only, we don't like have many name brand neighborhoods. You live in Newtown, in a single home. Let me see what other homes at $350 are, and let's compare. Oh, so, you know, and then I'll send it to them, and next time we sit, we have an idea that we're gonna be in this price range, but we haven't targeted yet. So the other way to show people when they told you they wanted $339 and you were thinking $320, well, at $339 seller, we can sit at your computer now, look what they can get. They can get a larger house, they all have finished basements. What do you think the attraction is that they're gonna buy your house instead of the other houses that are offering so much more? I'm with you, I wanna make it happen. We have to be realistic. I have to, you know, consult. When I work buyers, I don't work buyers much anymore, but when I have, I would call the other realtor and I'd say, hey, my person loves this house, I think we can make a deal. I did comps, I can't really find your price. Can you tell me what your comps are? Well, that's what my seller wanted. Oh my God, what a comp. Like you're talking to a moron. As soon as somebody says, if you ever say that to anybody, that's what my seller wanted. Like, really? Your seller was directing traffic? That's what your seller wanted? So there is no price like that. There's no comparable like that.